The old story of turning water into wine, and also when Jesus told people to cast their nets into the water and they will pull up fish. Two clarifications. Number one, we were making wine. I had a wine distillery, and it is known about. They found it. It is in uh, what's called part of the uh, what's that place? Um, Libyans. That's it. It was a Libyan. I think it was Libyan. But I had many places which turned vineyards, which turned water into wine. We were also working on oil, olive oil as well, making it burning, and some ethanol stuff, or not ethanol quite yet, but back then we were working. But mostly we were doing a net research project. Is what we're doing. See, back in the old times, when Jesus was around, or me actually, when I was, what's called. Anyway, what I was doing is I was running a everyone fished by a fishing pole. They use the old method that the Indians know about, where you take a bone and you cut it, and you can catch fish. And I had been part of that research project as well, making wooden fishing hooks and putting worms on them, as well as bone fishing hooks and putting worms on them. And it was very successful, and I employed fishermen, and they caught fish. They were doing okay, they were fishing for themselves and fishing for a few people in the town, of course. I had a foundry over there, which has been found and all that, and now just rubble, of course. Okay, so then. So then, what happened is I thought, well, there are fish down in there. We just have to find them. If there are fish in there, then we just need a bigger way to catch them. So I thought, well, maybe something with holes that allow the water to go through, but not let the fish, because fish are big, right? So they tried it, and there were some research projects with that. And we were working on some bamboo or hemp rope. I was trying to get some string or rope-like material. We tried some screens, didn't work that well. Kind of worked, but didn't work. Worked for streams mildly well, which they made these big like nets things. Okay, so that worked, right? All right. So then they're working on hemp rope, which I had this place in Russia making at the time, I believe, or something like that. Anyway, so they made some nets, and we did a net trial, and we had built a boat, and we were trying it out back then. I was having the people try it out. Anyway, they put the nets out, and they caught a lot of fish, a whole school of fish, basically, enough to feed the town and everywhere else. And about then, I think, and then that went into a whole. There was so much fish back then. And at the time, there had been a starvation problem with the local populace. They weren't able to fish enough. The people were going hungry. So anyway, though, so I started selling the fish as well, and also giving away about a third of it, or the older fish, as fish would get old, because they didn't last that long. They would basically fish small amounts, pretty much, just enough. I told them just fish just enough to. Because it'll go bad otherwise. So they would let most of it go, and they would fish just enough. And then we started working on some dried fish or some wax paper at the time or something like that. I forget the exact research project. I mean, me back in the day, I was kind of there with them. More incorporeal, I guess you could say. I was experiencing it and working with them, and I forget exactly how it worked. Anyway, though, now somehow it's ancient history, but basically that's what was going on back there. And then I said, okay, well, let's give away about a third of it, and we kind of started working on some ways of drying fish, and we got some salt, and there was some research with salt. I was having salt brought in, and they were doing some sort of like salted fish like stuff and some other things. We were trying out some other ways to get the fish to last a little while longer, so we could get it further, or so we can fish more and store some. But we couldn't store that much. Anyway, though, so I just want to clarify that whole story of the water, of the casting your nets into the thing and walking on water. And I tried to, I didn't actually try to walk on water. I had a couple projects where people were trying to walk on water. It did not work, of course. Anyway, though, but well, I mean, I'm that biblical. I am what people. I mean, I changed my name. I started being called by I was like, I think I like a different name, and it actually comes from this graffiti teenage like gang or group kind of thing that happened in Germany. I changed my name to Jude or Jay something or other. I had this other. I forget. I mean, like I say, things happen so fast for me because I would think, oh, well, I want to be like this. And then I would go on and continue inventing and continue creating civilization, basically. And then I would go and do this other stuff. And it kind of is because I was such a good inventor and kind of because there wasn't all that much out there at the time.